pleased to be joined by Krisstina Wise on today's show. So a massive welcome to you, Krisstina.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, yes, thank you very much for taking the time to join me. Krisstina is a real estate mogul, an international author and speaker, a millionaire coach, and the creator of several multi-million pound businesses, including, I believe, is it Good Life Luxury, the paper agent, and more recently, the wealthy business you've got, or coaching business. I also know you've had some tough times as well, Krisstina. And is it in 2013 that you almost lost your life?
Yes, it was. It's getting far, more distant, and it still seems almost yesterday many times.
That obviously was a hugely traumatic period for you, but I think that's based on what I know of your story, that shaped your life very much so. And I know you spent a huge amount of money getting your life and your health back on track as well. And now that you are really helping to change the world by inspiring others to have or live extraordinary lives, and you do that through obviously helping them to grow their wealth and their health. So I'm fascinated, I'm sure my audience is fascinated to know all about your story, how it all began really, obviously what inspired you, which is what we've already covered to some extent already, but really how you were helping others to live these, or live their best life and on their terms. So over to you.
Well, thank you. I share my story really is hopefully as an inspiration and to show what's possible. And I really look at, if I were to look at my life, like all of our lives, but my life as a book and a story, I really have, or even like a series. You know how we all are addicted to these Netflix series, that has season 1, season 2, season 3, and like season 1 has a completion. You can't wait for season 2. Anyway, so if I broke it up into 3 seasons of kind of 3 different chapters or seasons, the first place where my money story started was how I grew up. I mean, I grew up, it's kind of that proverbial rags to riches story, but I really am a rags to riches story. Like, it's truth. And I've been in rags more than one time, but I started in a trailer home, and that used to be very shameful. I never told anybody for the longest time. I didn't want anybody to know, because in my beginnings, I was so ashamed that that's where I started. And I mean, it wasn't even a double wide. It was like a little travel trailer on the back of somebody else's lot. And there was a lot of just growing up in that type of environment. There was alcoholism and dysfunction and abandonment and, fights about money all the time, and being made fun of at school because I wore high waters or, whatever, high water pants. That's where, they're a little too short. And so just grew up with a lot of shame and embarrassment and lack of safety when it came to money. So that's where I started. And, at a young age, I just realized that I didn't want to be that way or be stuck there. And so I raised money to put myself through college. I started making money. I was on my own since I was like 12 years old, and figured out how to make money, how to pay my bills, how to do things. And so coming out of that, I put myself through university. I got an accounting and finance degree. I got a business degree, because I really wanted to change my circumstances.
You're very much self-made, aren't you, Krisstina?
Yeah. So that's where that started. So coming out of college, I got into this thing called real estate here in the States, and I did very well because I was a hard worker. I was very ambitious. I was motivated. I was driven. I wanted to make a lot of money. And the great thing about real estate here, at least, is that there's no real ceiling to one's income. Like, you can just keep doing more business, and it can be a very lucrative career. So I did very well, and I made a lot of money. But what does a kid that grew up poor do when they kind of win this income lottery? Is I bought everything I couldn't afford as a kid. So I just overspent, and I didn't pay attention to the money. I just thought, you make a lot of money, that solves all the world's problems. So the end of that chapter, that series, wound up where I was divorced as a single mom of like a 4 and 5 year old. And I I didn't have any money. The divorce was brutal because we fought over all this stuff and the assets and crazy. And basically I was left with moving out of the great big house in the suburbs to, I could only afford like a little rental in this teeny tiny duplex. It was, again, kind of shameful and embarrassing that I had moved to this crappy little place. And I couldn't feed my children. I couldn't pay the utility bills.
How old were you at this age, or this stage?
I was early 30s at that age,
Okay.
like maybe 31 or something. And I'd had probably 5 years of really good income making. So here I am destitute, and I'm now kind of repeating my childhood. My kids had broken home. We can't pay the bills. I have no money. I have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt that I had to figure out how to pay. So I just found myself in complete financial despair. I was scared to death and I didn't know what to do. I was in a 100% commission job. The commissions went away because I was fighting this divorce. I didn't know how I was going to do it alone and be a mother. And I just broke down. But it was at that breaking point. Yeah, I was at that breaking point where I just realized I had this question to myself. Like, how the hell did I make all that money? I was #1 in sales in my company year after year after year.
What were you actually doing in that company? What was your role?
I was selling houses.
You were selling houses, right?
I was selling real estate, right? But my question was how did I make all that money? And here, the only reason why we had food in the fridge and our electric bill was paid because peers at work actually pitched in. And here I was ashamed that I had to take charity at this stage of my life, especially as after I was #1 everywhere, right? Like my ego was completely damaged as well. So that was it. That was that head scratcher. It's like, how did I make all this money and I'm dead broke? And it just occurred to me there had to be more to this money game than just earning a high income. Like earning a high income doesn't solve your problems. In fact, in my case, it created more problems. And here I was like, several $100,000 in debt and tax liens and all this craziness. So that sent me on this journey. That was like pivotal moment. It's like, well, nobody's going to dig me out of this but me. So I can keep feeling sorry for myself, or I can try to do something about it. So I just went to learn money, and I spent a full decade like being an avid student and knowing and learning, here's just some nuggets or takeaway, but learning that income and wealth are totally different. And wealthy people play a different money game than people that just earn high incomes.
I was going to say to you, who did you learn from? Where did you get these golden nuggets from?
Well, there was a man named Gary Keller that I did a lot of study under, who has built one of the largest real estate companies in the world at this point. And he was a personal mentor. And there's another man named Toby Hecht that I studied under for a long time. And I read every book. I went to every workshop. I did every mastermind. I mean, I was a rigorous student. I made every mistake. I learned, trial by error for the most part. But the point is that what I learned through that year, the 10-year period of rigorous study, is that there's a lot more to money that meets the eye. And if you're going to get good and play the wealth game, you need to know things that aren't obvious and that aren't common sense and that aren't taught in school.
That is exactly what I say to you. That this is the common thing that I think is global. It's not just obviously in the US or in UK or Europe. These things are not taught in school. And like you, I'm passionate about sharing these ideas and these, should we say, ideas and awareness so people can learn themselves and they can do this themselves.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, you've done it, I've done it. Like, anything's possible once we know and learn these things. But what happened in that next 10-year period, what I was studying, is I was trading my health for wealth. Like, I was just going full velocity all the time. I was running marathons, and I had many multi-million-dollar businesses, and I was raising my children and trying to be the perfect mom and not miss anything, and traveling across the world and speaking, and like being perfect, trying to be perfect everything. And every rung of the ladder of achievement and success I got to, I'd be like, well, people are doing better than me here. I better go to the next one, the next one, the next one. And everywhere I got, I never even stopped to pause to think, wow, girlfriend, that was actually really good. It was never good enough. I was never good enough.
I was say to you, I think the drawback when you are achievers is you never reach it, or obviously until you've discovered obviously your way of doing things now. But I think when you are achievers, you're never happy with that next level. It's always going to be the next one and the next one and the next one. I think it's difficult to achieve true happiness when you are achieving is actually, to some extent, it's a barrier to true wealth and to happiness.
I totally agree. That's it. It's like the everything, especially in the entrepreneur world, is performance, super performance, uber performance, high achievement. And that's the message we get. It's the constant message that no matter where you are, that's not good enough. And if we don't conquer that, in my case, it just took me down. I just got really sick, and I was just, the stress got to me, and my lifestyle got to me, and my lifestyle broke me for doing too much for too long, and, so we get accolades, for the achievement, and that's kind of those trophies, so to speak, then keep you wanting to go for the next trophy and the next trophy and the next trophy. And it can be a very dangerous cycle where all of a sudden you're just not even present in your life anymore. So when I got sick,
keep on spinning all these plates without affecting health. And obviously for you, when I guess for a lot of people, and I've experienced this myself, is burnout. You reach a burnout point, which could also lead to even worse health issues.
Either complete burnout and or complete health collapse. People find themselves in middle age, and all of a sudden they were fine when they're young because you didn't feel these things, but that lifestyle does catch up with you. So, some people have heart attacks, some people, whatever it is like that, our bodies are not equipped for that amount of stress for that amount of long. So, but what then happened when I got sick is I've learned all these life lessons, but the kind of the worst things on my deathbed was I had this awareness of, oh my gosh, when I was sick, I did not care about all my trophies. I didn't care about all my possessions. I didn't care about all that success. All I wanted was my life back. But not even that where I was sitting was all this remorse. I was so sad, and I had so much deep, dark remorse that here I was dying. I hadn't even lived yet. Like I missed life because I was always on that achievement track. Yeah. I was never present. I was never like fully present and happy and squeezing the juice out of life, because I was trying to achieve that next thing, like achieve happiness like it's out there somewhere. And I just realized, like, oh my gosh, like, how did I miss it? Like, it's not even, it's not even fair that I'm, I'm kind of at this point and I'm just now getting the lessons. So clearly I'm still here, thank goodness. But it was quite the hero's journey. It was a very dark, scary period as I was fighting for my life and going through this entire experience.
I think one of the other things that we all maybe regret, or I certainly did, is when you got little children, is that you don't always... You're trying to provide for them, and you're not spending maybe as much time as you want. Well, certainly they need your attention and time. There's nothing more precious to a child than your time. Obviously, your presence with them. And I think we've all done it, or most of us have done it, where you've given up time with your children to try and strive and achieve to give them a better life.
I was there, absolutely. And that was part of my regret and remorse, is that I didn't spend more time with my children. So that was, and that as a mother, I mean, I just felt so much guilt, and now I'm laden with guilt. Like, oh my God, I mean, my kids don't think it this way, but I just felt like, oh my gosh, like my kids were second below my career, and I'm sure they felt that at times. And so I had to come to terms with that as well. Yeah. And when I was sick, I was so sick that I couldn't even take care of my children, they were scared. So here I was even adding another layer of burden onto them and feeling guilty about that, So there's just so much darkness and ugly that was in this period. And I'm so grateful I went through it. But what happened is I didn't care about my money at all, except for the fact that because I'd been very good at the money game and building assets and cash, I had the money. By the end of the day, it was probably close to $1 million, but certainly $500,000 in the 2 years to really save my life, kind of cash and selling some assets to be able to save my life. So it's this, what I was reconciled in kind of this end of this season 2 was this awareness of life is not about the chase. If we're chasing money, we're in the achievement game. Yeah. It's like I put it, kind of compare it to, going to the dog track and the dogs chase the rabbit. They never catch the rabbit, but they're always in the chase.
Good. It's a great analogy.
Yeah, that was my lifestyle. Like, you never catch the rabbit, and it's rigged that way to never catch the rabbit. So we just keep trying to run faster, trying to get the next tip or technique or something. that's the chase. And you're just going in circles thinking that one day you're going to catch the rabbit. You'll never catch the rabbit because there is no rabbit. It's like, it's a facade. It's an illusion. Yeah. So there was that. But what I recognized is this paradox when it comes to money is, on one case, money is more important than anything. Like in my case, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have that money to be able to pay for everything it took to get my life back. So here I was, money was really important, but I didn't care about the money. Like the money, it wasn't about the money. The money was just there for my health. The money was there to stay alive. The money was there to help me to be able to provide for my children and have this time and space to take off 2 years to be able to fight for this. So it's just this awareness of like this, oh my gosh, the money's to live life and to take care of things. It's not out there. I mean, it just became so obvious. And then I had used all my wealth to get my health back. So I'd spent 10 years doing this. And now just in 2 years, it was gone. I became a millionaire. I had $1 million in the bank. I had all of it. Like I was a true bona fide millionaire. And then I was not a millionaire anymore. I practically had to start from scratch because all that money was just used to pay the price for my, using my body and not taking care of my number one asset, which is my body. So that's where my brand wealthy, like money, wealth, and wealthy came from, out of this my new brand and that new business.
Yeah, I love it. I actually love the brand. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's because in financial terms, you're a financial guy and I'm a financial girl, but if we just think in terms of finance, which is kind of the way my brain was wired, was if we think in terms of assets, and I'm all about the asset, I'm teach people net worth on the balance sheet. So we want to buy assets, not expenses.
Yeah.
So, but my number one asset here, I was depleting and deteriorating this asset, which is my body and me and my well-being and who I am. The most important asset of all, because even if I had all the money, laying in bed and not being able to enjoy life,
nothing, is it? Yeah, exactly.
Our health is our biggest wealth. And it's not just, it's physical health, but it's mental health. I lost my mental health during that time. So mental health, physical health, emotional health, and relational health, like the health of our relationships.
Yeah.
I'd had a lot of toxic relationships around me at the same time. And, so that was it. It's like, oh, the money's there. It's just a tool to underwrite the cost of living a well life, like being well in all these different categories. So the goal needs to be wellness. And then we can figure out how much money is enough to pay for the cost of living a well life, like financial wellness for the sake of being wealthy in all these different life categories.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I totally agree with you there. So I think sometimes, as you say, we all have to go through these traumatic times to, one, appreciate life, what it means. I think the pandemic is another example where the simple things in life, people have realized they are by far the most important things in life, and not all the, should we say, the luxuries or the exotic holidays or things. It's the very basics of life is that you enjoy yourself, your family, your friends, if you can. Those are the things that really make you happy and the things you enjoy doing.
Yeah, and the happiness is here. It's not out there. It's not at the next vacation. It's not in the next purchase. It's not, there's nothing wrong with enjoying great vacations and some novelty and having some nice things. It's part of
spending time with people you love, isn't it?
Exactly.
And
like
doing
I said,
the things you enjoy doing.
Right.
If you're with somebody that you don't like, should you say, the holidays can be just as miserable.
That's so true. Well, and I've wondered just, I mean, it becomes obvious when we say them out loud, but when we're not thinking about them, we're just in that rat race and that chase because that's kind of the culture we're baked into.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, do you think Steve Jobs would have given up his last billionth dollar to have 5 more years of life?
Well, I would have been surprised if he didn't say, "I'll have the 5 years, please."
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's like, why are we all in this game? But you're not, until you're faced with that, it's
often like too late, isn't it?
Yes.
Like you've gone through, you've had a life changing experience because your life was seriously in doubt at this stage, and you've had, if you like, this shining light, if you like, where life isn't meant to be like this. Life is meant to be so much better and different. And now I've got the opportunity, or second opportunity, to actually live the life I actually want, and makes a difference.
It does. And kind of part of my work today is like, I'm hoping there's this quote that says, change never happens until there's a crisis. So we don't improve our health until we have a heart attack, or, we don't change our money habits until we have a bankruptcy, or, whatever. We don't really think about our behavior in our marriage until someone files for divorce, whatever the crises are. And I'm just inspired with my work now is like, if you can learn through my crisis and lessons, and I can save you the heartbreak and the millions of dollars, then I think I've got a few things figured out that you can avoid some of the traps I've fallen in. I've had to dig myself out of a lot of quicksand over the years. And if I can help you avoid the quicksand, you're going to learn your own lessons, but it doesn't have to be as painful. Yeah,
absolutely. There's nothing better than learning by mistakes, or better still, learning by somebody else's mistakes.
Exactly.
That's by far the best lesson.
That's by far the best. So. If I had a do-over, that's what I'd do it. Let me learn by other people's mistakes. Why do I have to learn by my own time after time again? And I don't make small mistakes. I'm kind of an all-in person. So when I have a mistake, like there's a lot of recovery.
So tell me about your third episode then. In terms of
third episode.
How you've obviously, I'm really intrigued about the wealthy in particular, because again, that's where I see we've got a lot of synergies in that part. Obviously, you that side of your business, if you like, or one of your many businesses. But I think certainly from the wealthy side of it, I'm intrigued to know what you actually do and how you are helping others to build their best lives. So can you share with us more on that, please?
Yeah, really what we've discussed in this third chapter, it's really become a complete flip around, that versus being out there so often it's being in here. And my lifestyle's really different, versus before I never would have meditated. That was a waste of time. I never would have taken walks. I never would have put me first. It was, and so what I've realized is that just being present, the biggest present to give ourselves and others is to be present and to slow down. So versus speeding up, everything we hear is scale, go bigger, do more, be more, have more. And I'm just like, no, we make our lives complex. We make them really expensive. We add all these layers of stress. And if we can start unlayering and simplify and add more elbow room of space and just slow down, this is where life is in the present moment, in the slowdown, in the laughter, in the love, and make love and laughter and health and wellness the priority. And then have fun playing the money game, get good at it. You still need money. And it's nice to have nice things even, but not about those. It's about the here and now. And you just mix in the other stuff to add some richness to it. But we have to get out of this idea that happiness is out there, or we can buy our way to feel better about life in general. And but everybody's kind of stuck in that pattern. And the only way to get out of it is to bring awareness and consciousness to our life, to do lifestyle architecture, to look at what, I teach people to really look at what is a good life, like really create it. Like if you had your ideal life, it doesn't have to, be these magnificent vision boards and, you can do that. But what would just be a really good life? Who's in it? Where are you living? What does a day-to-day basis look like? If you took a vacation or two a year, what would that be? If you had time to do yoga or this, would that be mixed in? So really just design your life that if nobody else could see it, it can't be about external, I want this house to live in this. No, if you have to pretend like nobody else exists except your core group of loved ones around you, how would you design it if nobody else could see it? And then we quantify it. So we need to know now, how much does it cost to live that life? And now we reverse engineer money, how much money we need. And we work today for two selves. And I know you know all this, and I'm sure your audience is
what I'm smiling for is that I do exactly the same. And it's about getting people to understand what they ideal life will be. And again, it's not about all the trappings or luxury and like that. What truly makes you happy? What are the things that you see yourself doing in the future that you would love to do? And then, as you say, reverse engineers, how much is that lifestyle in today's terms going to cost you? And therefore, as a result of that, what sort of level of capital, if you like, or money are you going to need to actually fund that? So we are definitely on the same wavelength as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, exactly. We're saying the exact same
Yeah.
thing. And it's to remember too that during our working years, like when we're really working to make money, we're working for two selves. We're working for our current self. So, you know, to make the money we make that we get to spend on our month-to-month cost or year-to-year cost of our lifestyle. But we're also working for our future self. And so we want to project out to ourself that's 10 or 20 plus years older and be asking ourselves, based on whatever my age is today, when people work with me in the programs, whatever your age is, write down your age. Yeah. Now project out 20 years. Yeah. Do you want to be working exactly this hard, doing exactly this thing, these hours, this stress, this everything 20 years from now? Yeah. 20 years and now, if your working life looked your whole life, and especially working life looked exactly the same, are you okay with that? And most people are like, well, hell no, I don't want to work this hard. Well, if you don't, the only way for us not to work that hard is we have to have another source of income. Correct. And another source of income means not our working income, it has to be non-working income. Yeah. So our future self that doesn't want to work this hard, we need to take care of him or her as well. And so that means that we have to take a piece of whatever percentage. We can do this through compounding calculators and easy calculations to know there's something, you know, what most people do is they look at their income, determine their expenses, but most of money wisdom and money truths are the exact opposite of what we think it is. So where most people's expenses are determined by their income they make, and there's Parkinson's law that says expenses will always rise to meet income, that keeps people in the trap. It's actually expenses that determine income. So if I know let's just say my current lifestyle costs me $10,000 a month. Yeah. To make the math easy. Now, on top of that, that's just the cost to be able to live my life. So that's my expenses, 10,000. I'm starting there. I'm not even talking about income yet. It's like my lifestyle costs 10,000. Now, on top of that, I need to add taxes. Yeah. So whatever, you know, taxes I think I'm going to pay, because that has to be. And on top of that, I need to put my future self money that I'm taking to pay for that future self. So that says 10,000 plus 2,000 plus 3,000 is $15,000 a month. So that means I need to be bringing home $15,000 a month income if this is the lifestyle I want to make. And that amount that we put into our future self, we need to look at our 20-year self and say, okay, working backwards from that, if I want to keep my $10,000 a month lifestyle, how much net worth or capital do I have to have, those assets that will throw off that same $10,000 in the future, so that at 20 years from now, I don't have to work this hard. So I just call it's just like setting up your own future trust fund so you can live off the interest from the assets and not have to work this hard. But most people don't do that. They're spending every dollar in today's lifestyle and adding up all these payments. And with every payment is more stress. And with every loan, or if it's credit card or what mortgage or cars or whatever, that's that month-to-month stress that we have to go hustle again to be able to pay all those bills.
Yeah, my analogy is you set up your own business or a company in the future where you don't have to turn up for your job. You can stay and do the things you enjoy doing, and you still get
exactly. Exactly. Yes.
That's brilliant. So, how do you actually teach these in terms of what format? Are these done through online courses, or are they done through face-to-face? Well, face-to-face obviously is something we can't do anymore, certainly not in the present. But how are you actually teaching people these ideas, these methods?
Yeah, well, my business, my education company that sits under my Wealthy brand is called Sovereignty Academy. And I teach the mindset and the skill set for creating financial sovereignty, being whole, complete, and knowing your numbers and just feeling very secure with your money. And Sovereignty Academy is everything we should have learned in college or university or even high school for that matter about money, but they didn't offer that class. No. And it's a 12-week, it's the money school, and it's a 12-week program where where people go through mostly online with me. It's designed like a school, like a semester.
Yeah.
You're going to semester at night school.
Yeah.
You're watching me lecture on videos. You're doing your homework. And then we have weekly office hours. And it's complete transformation to teach us the money fundamentals, the right mindsets, the spiritual context of money, and the practical ability, financial system, all these different pieces that's necessary from my own life and point of view for the money mechanics and the money mindset and the money systems required to actually make wealth automatic and systematic, the creation and growth of wealth. And and I've done it, and I've done it more than once in my life. So the system works. It gets us on the track to hit those future numbers and become, that millionaire or any, multiple of that. So I call it, when I call myself a millionaire coach, I'm not BSing anybody. Like, I'm teaching you the mindset and what the behaviors and practices, as well as the systems that will create that will enable that to happen. That otherwise we're just going to stay stuck and keep beating ourselves, hitting that same wall month after month, year after year when it comes to our finances.
You're going to get the same results.
Exactly.
So have you got any success stories, obviously without naming names, any success stories from some of your students?
Oh my gosh. Funny enough, just yesterday, I put the little coffee cup in the dishwasher. It was just sitting right here. So one of my students, her name was Andrea, and she called me or emailed me last week. She said, I have a little gift for you. Can I drop by? She's in my same, the next town over. And I said, sure, come on by, around noon Central Time. This was yesterday. And so she brought me this sweet little gift. And on the coffee cup, it said, empowered women help more women become empowered, or something. Like, that was the thing on the coffee cup. So it's just this gift. And I just share the story because it's top of mind because she was here yesterday, and she just came and just gave me this hug and it's just this sweet little coffee cup. And she said, Krisstina, I just need you to know that you changed my life. You've changed my marriage. I was so afraid of money and scared of numbers and thought I couldn't do it, even though I have a business. And now I was laughing and thinking of you yesterday because I was in my books and doing all my reconciliation and my sweeping. And she said, I just thought to myself, who am I? Like, a year ago, I would have never done this. And it created so much, angst between my marriage because my husband wouldn't talk about money and I just wouldn't talk about it. So stories like that. That's Andrea from yesterday that brought me a coffee cup. And I just have hundreds of those, just one after another. And it's just because when anything that we neglect, anything that we abdicate, anything that we are afraid of, we're never going to be able to master it. There's another quote that I like that says, although we can love what we do not master, we cannot master what we do not love. And so if we want to master money, we really need to fall in love with it, create a healthy relationship with it, be attentive to it, appreciate it, grow with it, honor it. Be grateful for what we have. We have this, just kind of human nature itself is to kind of look at what we don't have or be dissatisfied. But another quote is, what we appreciate appreciates. And so if we want what we have to appreciate, it's a spiritual law that we need to appreciate it. We need to be grateful. We need to spend time. Yeah. So the relationship with our money is a very important piece. And that's a big part of the work that I work with people. It's helping them quit putting money out there or even abdicate it to the planners and advisors because, hey, I don't want to touch it. Just take my money and make me more money. It's like, no, we create the money. And I'll complete by saying that it's like when I was sick, at the beginning of that journey, I'd never even been to a doctor before. I thought I was the picture perfect health, which was funny. And then next day I came over. But at the beginning of that journey, I was going to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor with fix me. I was just trying to find the right doctor that would give me the right something that I can be back to my old normal self. So when that didn't work, over a period of time, it finally, I started getting these, spiritual lessons and type of thing. But what I finally realized is that no doctor can fix me. I broke me. I need to fix me. Healing's an inside out job. It's not it's not their job to come save me, especially after I did this to myself. And it was just kind of this realization like, oh, I have to heal my soul. I have to heal my heart. I have to heal all that dysfunction from my upbringing that, is kind of manifested and stuck in my body. I have to clean me. Health is an inside out job. I can maybe gain some assistance from doctors here and there and gain their opinion, but I have to do the work. I can't buy the result. So same with our money. Like money's an inside job that we are the creators and magic manifestors. We need to move our money and work it. And money has to flow, money has to move. And then we work with our planners like you. I'm an educator. I'm not an advisor. I'm not a planner. I just educate so that when those come to you, they're all right, always like, Tony, like I want to do this and that, or I have this idea or that idea, or here's all my money and how it's working. How can you help me optimize this? Or what other ideas do you have to help me really blow this out?
The best clients that I work with are the ones where they have a much better understanding of how money works. And it's a question of really then for me as an advisor, how to maximize that with them, not for them, with them. And
yes,
there's a big
with
difference
them.
between that. So again, the way I work is probably different to a lot of other advisors, where a lot of work I do is about education around. I make sure that people are understand of exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, and it's in line with their obviously their wishes, their lifestyle, what they're trying to achieve. So they know at the end of the day that what we're doing is to fulfill that lifestyle, that future self that they are looking so much to have. And this is what they're doing it all about. It's not just about now. Now is really important, but we can make sure that they can have a good life now, but their future life is just as good, if not better, if they put things in place in line with obviously what they want to achieve. I tell you another thing, which is a side effect from what you've mentioned, is that your students have got family, they've got partners, they've got children. What you're teaching them is that that's going to be passed down to their partners, to their children. So what better lessons can you provide other than money management, lifestyle, mindset, all those things? So it's not just your direct students, it's all the people around them can benefit from those teachings.
That's, with that said, you're exactly right. And I really encourage couples to do my programs together.
Yeah,
it changes
one,
marriages. Like, for example, Andrea, she and her husband, Kevin, went through it, the one I referenced from yesterday. And that's what she said yesterday too. She said, I mean, it changed my marriage. We're so on the same page with money.
Yeah.
We don't have any more money conflict. We're following the system. We know this thing. But most of my students that go through, I'd say 75% of them are married, and they go through it alone. Like they want to do this for themselves, but they can't get their partner, get their partner, but their partner won't join them for whatever reason. And I just so encourage couples together, because when you're a couple on the same page with money and you can have these conversations and you're inventing and co-creating and each person has their roles and it can be a safe conversation, you can just build and grow so much faster and just enjoy life, the financial returns of life so much more when you're on the same page. So like what you said, I highly encourage couples to do this type of work together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, and if you can do it as a team, as a couple, then you can achieve even more.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a fantastic idea. Okay. So if people wanted to know more about obviously yourself and the courses that you run, how would they find you?
I have a couple of different places. Sovereigntyacademy.com. You might have to go do a spell check to how to teach.
Links in the podcast, yes, for you.
Yeah, it's Sovereignty Academy. But I'm at Krisstina Wise, like on Instagram and other social channels. And my podcast is Wealthy Wealthy. So like you, I interview others to get their point of view. And I just want to say, for everybody listening, that, I hope they're working with you, Tony. Like, I've been doing this. I've done well financially. I'm financially set. I'm financially free. My income from my assets more than pays the cost of my lifestyle. So it's a choice at this point to work and do, the things that I do. And I love my business. I love working. I love still growing and making money, but it's different when you don't have to, right? I don't know. It just feels different. I've been in both places, and this is ultimately, hopefully, where most of us get. But in this, I do know the traditional financial planning advice industry, and they don't care about you and your money. I mean, so working with you, Tony, is to work with those that actually care about life, care about lifestyle, want their clients to be educated, and, you know, I've done this type of work. So I hope your listeners are working with you.
Yeah, I think it's you've got a passion, and says to me, about helping others. I also think we got a synergy in terms of our starting life, because my life wasn't much different to yours. Um, for us, or for me in the UK, it's what we would call a council house kid, if you like. So I started off similar to you, with in a broken home, and but it gives you, should we say, the drive to make it or make yourself have a better life. You want to do better for yourself and for obviously those around you. So I think there are some very successful people out there who've had a poor start in life, but it's provided them with the impetus to do much better. I think certainly listening to your story isn't a million miles from mine at all. So I remember, I don't know if you have the same system in the US, but as a child, we had in school, we had what we call, for the poor kids or the council house kids, you had free meals. But that's fine, but you had to queue up with a ticket in the school meals line, and you were served last behind everybody else. That was never a very pleasant experience. So all these things sort of matter when you are little, and they have a huge impact in terms of your life. And you know, similar to you, it's certainly given me, should we say, the drive to do much better with my life.
Yeah, I told this story. I have the same story, Tony, that I was very thin as, you know, as kind of a middle school aged child, and even high school, and people just thought it was genetic. And it's because I wouldn't eat lunch because they had the school lunch program, and I was too ashamed and embarrassed. So I just didn't eat. I just didn't eat.
Yeah. So yeah, very similar then, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Wow. So okay, I'm pleasantly surprised that we have got lots of synergies and things in common between us. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I will say one final thing, if you don't mind, is that I mean, I work equally with men and women, but I do have a passion in my heart for wanting to create women to want for themselves what I call financial sovereignty and feminine, female financial power. For women to really embrace money, embrace the simple math, to get over the stories that they're not good at money, that they're not good at math. The math and money is very simple, you know, when you're doing this for your own family. And I share that because, you know, again, as an inspiration, I've had some really rough moments in life, you know, and still standing after those. But I'm a single female that has become a multimillionaire net worth by doing the work that I teach. And so, and I've had life handed to me more than once. So I just share that for any of the women listening, that, you know, part of what I want to do is be that inspiration, in the sense like, I am what's possible. If I've done what I've been able to do, everybody can, but we have to want it. Like you and I got out of the, you know, out of that life is because we really wanted it. And our heart and our passion and inspiration pulled us. So we have to want it for ourselves. But I'm just saying that everybody can do this. It's available to us. Abundance is available to us when we make the choice and decision. Like I want to take over. I want to take my power back, and I want to own this thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think we can all do it. Everybody can do this, but you do have to want to do it, because you do need to put some effort in at the very least. So nothing comes to you for nothing these days. So
exactly.
In terms of the students you have, I mean, are you exclusive to students in the US? Have you got other students across the globe?
I have students across the globe. I mean, mostly they're North American, but just because time zones with some of the calls and things, it can be a little bit on the later side. But I've worked with students all over the world, and I love working with everyone from all over the world and bringing all the, you know, different backgrounds and stuff together. And the reason why it works is I don't teach specifics. Like I'm not teaching, you know, 401k, which would be a retirement plan in the US. You know, what I'm teaching are the fundamentals, meaning the money principles and laws and structures that are applicable to everyone, because it's just money. It doesn't matter what form it is. You know, the other parts matter, but this is before, you know, this is what to do before people work with you. So they really understand their money, where it all is, what's working, what's not working, and they get it all working in systematic so that you can help them amplify it.
We're coming to the end now, but there's one question I like to ask all of my guests. You've answered this in a number of different ways, but I'll ask you the question I ask everybody else as well is, what does wealth mean to you?
Wealth, it means well. It means I am well. My environment's well. So just being healthy in all these different categories and having the money to pay for a wealthy life.
Wonderful. I couldn't say that better myself. So, Krisstina, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I'm so grateful. I'm sure my listeners will be there as well. I would like to wish you well in everything that you do. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Same to you. Thank you.